Hello everyone, welcome, my name is Phoenix and this is the Consumer's Guide to Video Games. Bullet Noir, 2025, Volson Studios. Bullet Noir is a top-down shooter game where the player takes control of 4 people. A cop, a doctor, a mistress, and a priest. These 4 people are all connected by one man, Vito Spirali. All 4 are sure of one thing. Vito Spirali was a victim of foul play. With revenge all on their minds, these 4 carve and shoot a bloody path through the city's underworld to find out what really happened to Spirali. This is a game I stumbled upon while dicking about on Steam looking for new games to play, so I decided to pick this up since I found it intriguing looking. You may have seen a short video I did talking about it in brief, because since it was in early access at the time I bought it, I couldn't rightly review it in full. Until now. Now, with the completed product released, I am now within my right to give my 2 cents. My 2 cents? Look, I ain't totally poo-pooing this game. This game has a ton of great ingredients going for it. Gameplay-wise, Bullet Noir, it's right up my alley on paper. Top-down, very tactical, fast-paced shooting. At its best, Bullet Noir is such a vibe. Running through these levels, doing all sorts of Hotline Miami-esque nonsense, hacking and shooting up enemies, it can be a blast. Each character has their own gimmick, and the way you approach combat varies based on who you are playing as. My favorite was the mistress, who could just tank bullets while slicing through enemies with her sword. Her final level was inspired by the famous 100v1 sword fight in Kill Bill, and as an aesthetic choice, that was quite fun. But to say this game is rough around the edges is an understatement. To start, the enemy AI and level design is quite rudimentary, to put it nicely. Levels consist of enemies just standing around in a room, and they don't really move until they see you. Even then, it takes them a second to actually attack you. A chunk of the time, these enemies are just dumb as balls and won't do shit. Like, literally, they just sort of stand there until you're, like, really close. Then they'll actually kind of move. Only a few of the enemies posed a legitimate challenge, and while some were unfair, I'll talk about that in a second, some, like the Riot Gear guys, were cool and required some intelligence to take out. I don't know if this is any different on hardcore mode. I played it on what is essentially normal difficulty and hardcore is hard, but the general experience got old pretty quick. Moreover, the difficulty could sometimes be insanely unbalanced. While levels and AI are rudimentary, sometimes the amount of enemies and what they throw at you could be ridiculous. There are these tank enemies that show up in levels, and in theory, this shouldn't be an issue. There were tanky enemies in Hotline Miami from what I recall. But these tanks took way too much damage. Like, way too much. You had to riddle these enemies with bullets and hope you did it before they got close to you, and that happens a lot, them getting close to you. So you better fucking hope you have full ammo and can find a gun on the ground and pick it up before they catch you. Further to this, I mentioned the mistress character, but one of the last levels during her stage was fucking abysmal. It involves a hallway, an attack helicopter, and these enemies that march you down when you approach them. Like, fighting these marching fuckers while a fucking Apache helicopter is ripping through windows and hallways is beyond insane. It requires a ridiculous amount of timing and at times random chance to get through. In general, this game could have used a little more time in the oven to balance these levels out and make them more of a fair, reasonable challenge. Artistically, while this game is a mixed bag in that department too, it is nonetheless where this game shines. Look, we all know what the aesthetic of this game is, and that's Sin fucking City. Black and white environments and characters with stylish flourishes of color to give it that extra bit of impact. The cutscenes are all comic book style, done in a similar vein to the legendary Frank Miller, and even if those are rickety themselves, they still go hard. Regardless of the fact that the actual levels are designed in a rudimentary way, the levels are nonetheless cool to look at. The priest levels in particular are neat because this character's blind, and the levels are thus lit really darkly, almost pitch black, with this divine white light emanating from the priest to light the way. Musically, this score is pretty much the sort of soundscape you would expect from this sort of indie game and this aesthetic. Synth banger after synth banger. Are the pieces a little repetitious in their use? Sure. There are maybe only 3 or 4 whole pieces in this game's soundtrack, and they aren't really composed or produced with being looped in mind. But I can't deny a banger piece when I hear it. The shit slaps in this game. Pure and simple. Now, the writing is not one of the game's major faults. The writing in this game is perfectly good. A solid little neo-noir revenge tale. The dialogue was this perfect mix of dick cheese and stylish brooding. I legit really like the ending of this game, where it loops around in a thematic way, repeating the same dialogue from the beginning after the cop dies. He was Vito's son. But like I said, the writing isn't the issue. The story of this game is dragged down by the acting and the audio mixing. Not only is the acting fucking atrocious, everyone had varying degrees of recording quality and care put into the mix. In terms of bad acting, there was one guy that played the cop's brother or something, and you confront him, the brother could not act his way out of a fucking paper bag, and the line reads were abysmal. Like, roll the footage, monkeys.
Here he comes, the prodigal son, mad because he no longer gets to be the new boss.
And just how did you get to that conclusion, genius?
Well, you already betrayed us once, joining the force and all.
I did it so I wouldn't have to deal with dipshits like you all day. Except to put you behind bars.
I'll have you know, brother, that it's dipshits like me who rule the world. We just take what's ours, no holds barred.
So how did you exactly take what's yours? Did you shoot father, stab him?
What? No, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, something stinks in here. See, a birdie told me that the night when father died, you weren't even in town. You came back the day after. Somebody took what's yours for you. You're just a front.
Hey, fuck you, cop. I'm not saying anything without a lawyer in the room.
Here's some legal advice. Tell me who did it or I'll shoot you.
Yo, you wouldn't do that. What would Dad say? Ah! Wait till Mom hears about this.
Now, be a good boy and use your remaining good foot to limp your way out of town. Next time I'll see you, I'll put a bullet through your head.
The rest of the cast were not great, but you could at least gauge what they were trying to go for, and you could tell they were at least trying with the material. Thankfully, a good chunk of the game is just reading the dialogue before levels, so that mitigates the blow of the acting. Now, what bothers me the most about any and all of this is the fact that I can't hear half these people's bad line reads. The guy that plays the cop sounded like he recorded his lines about 10 feet from the microphone. When you get that guy's audio mixed in with the rest, who are all at varying volumes, I think the mistress was legit too loud compared to everyone else, and everyone else was somewhat reasonably mixed or not as poorly mixed. Like, this legitimately makes you question how this even passed any sort of, like, reasonable smell test. Okay, look. Maybe I did quite a bit of poo-pooing in this review. Maybe I did that. But I want to end it on a positive message. These guys at Volson Studios only have a few games under their belt, and very few artists or group of artists are out there batting 100. Bullet Noir is a highly flawed game, but at its core was a cool concept. A neo-noir tinged shooter that bleeds its influences in the most loving way possible, and even if it is held together by toothpicks and dreams, it is an amusing little playthrough. If you want to kill a few hours, check it out. It's only $15. And you can go back for high scores in the levels and whatnot, so there is that level of replayability. But like, you know, I've seen this type of game done better. And I am feeling a 5.5 out of 10 on this one. It is way closer to a 5 than a 5.5. Like, the aesthetic's cool, but that's not enough to carry the game fully. Like, yeah. Catch you later, guys.